if you can't say anything nice, well, my guess is you know how that quote ends. Don't say anything at all. Now, how many times did you hear that as a kid? And how many times have you even given that advice to other people? It's a catchy phrase and it makes a lot of sense. But how often do you actually take that advice yourself? My guess is not very often at all. When it comes to your own self-talk, we usually act like the mean girl or the mean boy. We engage in so much self-bullying from the time we're 6 years old until the time we die. And the interesting thing is that nobody really talks about it. There are school campaigns and all sorts of things that we teach kids about how they should treat other people, yet when it comes to how we treat ourselves, we kind of ignore it and brush it under the rug, and nobody talks about the detrimental effect that it has. And there's a lot of research that shows the things you say about yourself are a gigantic contributing factor to your future success. So, while you may tell your children that they shouldn't bully others, you also need to think about what you're saying to yourself. Generally, our self-bullying starts somewhere around the age of 6 or 7, and it continues for your entire lifetime. Think about that amount of harsh language being stated in your own head. And here's the important part. Your mind, your subconscious is paying attention to every single thing you say. And so the more you say something consistently, like, I'm always late, or I never get anything right, or I'm always stupid, the more you say those things, the more your subconscious believes it, and it will get you to take action to make sure that you fulfill that statement. So that's why self-bullying is such a dangerous thing. Now, I was bullied as a kid for about 5 years when I was in elementary school, and it was tough. I remember dreading going to school on some days. I remember standing in the stall in the bathroom for as long as I possibly could, just so I didn't have to go out onto the playground for recess because I was afraid of what my bully was going to do to me when I went out there. But that only lasted 5 years, and in the realm of my life, that was a very short time period. What we need to remember is that self-bullying is generally a lifetime, and that's why we need to start fixing it now. So today I'm going to give you a few very concrete examples of what you can do to stop the self-bullying. So here are some real-world tips. Number 1, start listening to your self-talk intently. Now, the best way to do that is to put a rubber band on your wrist, and every single time you hear yourself say something negative about yourself, you twang it. Now, I know a lot of people don't like that concept. They think that it's too harsh, but I've done it, and I gotta say, it is the very best way to get you to realize how much negative self-talk you do in a single day. It is horrifying. And what will happen is it gives you a new sense of what you're saying, because a lot of what we say we just kind of ignore. And I guarantee you it will also give you a very sore wrist. Number 2, focus on what you want. We spend so much of our lives focusing on the things we don't want. I don't want to be fat. I don't want to be late. I don't want to be stupid. I don't want to be poor. But what happens is there's a rule in life that says you get what you focus on. And every time you focus on that negative thing, I don't want to be fat, it actually has the opposite effect on you. You will do more things to make yourself fat than if you focus on the positive, not to mention the stress and the anxiety that saying those things creates in your body. So choose what it is you want. If you want to be healthy, if you want to be an exerciser, if you want to be smart, start saying those things. Say things like, I exercise every week. Say things like, I'm learning new things every day. Those are the types of things that you want to feed your brain because that is actually what you want. And that will help to create or reduce a lot of stress that's going on in your mind every single day. All right, the third one, a lot of you are just going to turn off this video right now because I'm going to mention meditation. And it's one of those topics that some people love. Everybody kind of knows nowadays that they probably should be doing it, but it is something that most of us struggle with, myself included. I have done meditation on and off for years. Now, there are tons of health benefits to it. I am completely on board with all the health benefits. Reduces stress, it helps you to focus, it really kind of livens up your body, yada, yada, yada. But the challenge is that everybody is trying to meditate by trying to make your brain kind of turn off and not have any thoughts. And that is really difficult to do because your brain is always geared to be thinking about new things all the time. So I had a hard time with this until I learned a particular technique that I'd like to share with you. So here's what you do. First of all, you're going to take 4 breaths in, 4 breaths out slowly, and you do that 10 times. And as you're doing that, think about one of the great traits you have, just one. And you want to think about a different one every single day. It can be anything. It can be that you've got a great laugh. It could be that you are a fast runner. It could be that you cognate information very, very quickly. It could be that you know a lot of sports stats. It doesn't matter what it is, but think about something that is positive and unique to you. And all you have to do is do that every single day. I like to do it when I wake up in the morning because it really just kind of starts the day off, but you've got to think about a new trait every day, and it doesn't have to be about what you look like. I think that it makes more sense if you actually think about something that is a behavior or a trait inside of you versus the exterior. And lastly, this may sound a little weird, but be kind to your inner child. One of the things that is so fun to do is to go back and find a photo of yourself when you were somewhere between 3 and 6 years old. Every kid from that age range is adorable. Now, you might look a little goofy because you were wearing something from the 60s or the 70s or the 80s. Your haircut might not be perfect because maybe your mom or dad gave you a trim back then, but the pictures are adorable. And what you need to realize is that little kid is still in you. And if you were talking to that kid, would you say all those mean things you say to yourself as an adult? Would you tell that kid that it's never going to be successful, that it's always going to struggle, that it's not a good reader? Or would you try to make that kid feel like he or she could do anything in the entire world? So carry that picture around with you and remember that little kid because he or she is still in you. And no matter how old you are, we need that support and that love. So let's start a movement of being kind to ourselves, of stopping the self-bullying and taking some action to really switch the self-talk into something that makes you feel good every single day. We all have strange and crazy things that maybe we don't fully appreciate about ourselves. But there's one thing I know, and that is you were put on this earth for a reason. The better you feel about yourself, the more you can make a positive impact on others. So just remember, if you don't have something nice to say, don't say anything at all. In the meantime, of course, continue to laugh a lot and learn a lot. And I've also got 3 books that I would recommend, some of my favorites that have really helped me with stopping the self-bullying in my own head. And I will put a link to those in the bottom of all of this. In the meantime, if you're watching this on YouTube, if you could subscribe, that would be greatly appreciated. And comment on what you think and what has been your experience with bullying.